All right, so I've talked briefly about commitment. I've talked about the importance of value chain. I've talked about the importance of people if you want to grow the business. What I'm going to talk about next is these boxes here, and particularly I'm going to focus on financial control, because it's these things that I believe make an enormous difference for the business to be able to grow and achieve the goals and the outcomes that the owners want for the business. So let's talk about financial control. The first thing is the information needs to be organised. A lot of information prepared by accountants is not designed to run a business. I look at financial statements often. I look at the financial. I don't understand what's going on. If it's challenging for me, I'm sure it's going to be a challenge for a lot of business owners. I see a lot of the experiences where we look, for example, at balance sheet. A lot of owners of the business might look at their profit and loss. Very rarely do they look at their balance sheet, and very rarely do they look at even their cash flow statements. So I encourage you, are you looking at your balance sheet? Because often where the issues are sitting in your balance sheet, and most business owners don't look at their balance sheet. So first thing is get the information organised. The second thing is what we refer to as a GPC model. So GPC stands for growth, profit and cash flow. So what's important in business is to understand the drivers of growth or sales, understand the drivers of profit, and understand the drivers of cash flow. My experience is most business owners and most businesses are focusing on the wrong things. We need to understand the dials that make all the difference. So often in business, we're focusing on the wrong dials. There are some dials, if we focus on, can make an enormous difference to profit and cash flow, and there's other dials we focus on which make very little difference. So the most important thing is to understand what the GPC model is. The other thing is also to segment in your business. My experience is that in some businesses, there's parts of your business and there's segments. It could be customer segments, it could be product segments, it could be geography segments that are losing money. And there's other segments that are making a lot of money. But we need to understand what those segments, and my experience is that very few businesses segment their results and understand where they're making money and where they're losing money. I challenge you and I encourage you to look at how you can segment your business to better understand if you're not already segmenting. And the last thing is the rolling 4-quarter forecast. So for me, we have lots of experiences where we work with clients for the first time and they're like in fog. They can't see. They're running this business, but there's no forward look on their business. And it's amazing the transformation that I see once you start forecasting for a business owner, and all of a sudden they see what their position could look like, what their cash position could look like when they start looking out 4 quarters in their business. So preparing those forecasts is so important, because we'll find out in the subsequent segments. Once we understand what the forward look like in our business is, we're better able to understand the key actions we need to focus on to achieve those forecast outcomes. My next video, now that we've got financial control in place, and that's often the place to start, is financial control. We'll talk about plan in more detail.